Which teen pregnancy was harder, the baby I had at 16 or the baby I had at 19? Let me tell you, and let me tell you why. Because honestly, I feel like every time I say this, everyone is so surprised by my answer. When I had my second daughter at 19, this is Viviana, we were living out on our own, completely financially stable. Everything is basically just like adulthood. So it's technically a teen pregnancy, but it didn't really feel like one since I was like a full-on adult and in a 3.5-year long relationship and living out my own, you know, all the ins and outs of like what normal adults would do. But pretty much, I know this sounds insane, but the baby I had at 16 was actually, when I look back at all the newborn experiences and everything surrounding having the child, my postpartum, my mentality postpartum, my physical health, honestly, the baby I had at 16 years old was easier. Now, financially, this baby was easier. But I don't know what it was or what exactly the differences were when it came to everything that was so entirely different. But if we go all the way back to when I physically pushed my daughters out, for some reason, little Miss Viviana's birth and postpartum was so extremely hard, and going from 1 to 2 kids was so difficult for me mentally and physically. Not to mention, when I was pregnant with my second child, I gained 70 pounds. So physically, I was feeling a little bit like a whale. And my joints were hurting, like low-key, I was hurting. And not just because she was almost 8 pounds of that, but because I gained another 60 pounds of fat that I was carrying around all day, every day. And that was so painful. Obviously, I'm so grateful that I have my babies here. And I just think it's crazy, even when I think about it myself, like why when I was 16 years old, pumping at school, going to high school while pregnant, I literally had a maternity leave away from high school. Why was that easier mentally than going from 1 to 2 kids? Maybe I was just stupid. I mean, pretty much when you're 16, you are just kind of stupid. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to know, that was my experience. I'd love to know if any of you felt that way, because I've heard so often that going from 0 to 1 kids is harder than going from 1 to 2. But honestly, I couldn't disagree more. Like, I think going from 1 to 2 kids was so hard. And that's why I will not be having a third, most likely.